after reading a very fantastic book about language called The Language Instinct, The New Science of Language and Mind by Steven Pinker. In chapter 10, actually, I need you to follow me about this very fantastic information about the language and which the thing that controls language in human beings. In 1992, a bird in an Associated Press news story based on a report in the annual meeting of a principal scientific association in the United States. It's wrote by Grina Kopnik. Its lines is that the ability to learn grammar lead to gene by research. It means that the thing that controls language is something in the human brain. So to be able to spot this thing that controls language and the human brain of language remains poorly understood. But the accidents of nature and ingenious indirect techniques have allowed neurolinguistics to learn surprising amounts. For example, in 1861, the French physician Paul Broca dissected the brain of a basic patient who have not controlling of the language, not producing the language or the speech very well. They call it basic patient, who had been nicknamed Dan. Discovered a large cyst, large bridge or something in the brain, producing a lesion in Dan's left hemisphere. Broca, continuing to discover aphasia, he observed that all of them have a left hemisphere damage. So he concluded his study that the difficulty of articulated language resides in the left hemisphere. So after 130 years since then, Broca's conclusions have been confirmed by many kinds of evidence. Some of it comes from the convenient fact that the right half of the body and of the perceptual space is controlled by the left hemisphere of the brain, and vice versa. Maybe people with aphasia suffer weakness and paralysis on the right side. So that assures that the damage in the left hemisphere. Amazing about this data information that Broca and the other scientists have discovered that the left hemisphere controls language. There is any person can make out the word coming into the right ear better than from when it comes to the left ear, because the left hemisphere controls the right side of the body. Cases of otherwise incurable epilepsy, surgeons disconnect the two central hemispheres by cutting the bundle fibers running between the two hemispheres. The patients live a normal lives, but there is something special. The patients are kept still. They can describe it and take a place in their right visual field and can name objects in their right hand, but cannot describe even take a place in their left visual field or name objects placed in their left hand. Though the right hemisphere can display its awareness of those events by non-verbal means like gesture or pointing. The right hemisphere cannot. The language, So the left of their world has been disconnected from their language center, which is in the left. Also, the neurologists can temporarily paralyze one hemisphere by injecting sodium amytal into one of these hemispheres. A patient with a sleeping right hemisphere can talk with the sleeping right hemisphere, But a patient with a sleeping left hemisphere cannot talk. One by one discoveries. Remarkably, the psychologist Ursula Biology and her colleagues have shown that the same thing happens when deaf people shadow one-handed science in American Sign Language. They find it harder to tap with their right finger than with their left finger. The gestures must be the left hemispheres, but it is not because they are gestures, it's because they are linguistic gestures. Even the deaf people are controlled by the left hemisphere to produce sign language. So Beluga's findings show that language, whether by air or mouth, or by eye and hand, is controlled by the left hemisphere of the human. No biologist has explained why the left brain controls the right space and vice versa. Psycholinguist Marcel Kunisburn to come up with only speculation that is even remotely plausible. Yeah, all rightfully asymmetric intervertebrates like worms, insects and so on have the more straightforward arrangement in which the left side of the central nervous system controls the left side of the body and the right side controls the right side. So Kunisburn notes that the invertebrates have their main neutral cables laid along their bellies and their hearts in their backs, whereas choridates, like human beings, spineless creatures like worms and snakes, wherever, that the left hemisphere of their brain controls the left side of their body, and the right hemisphere of the brain controls the right side of the body. Not like the spine creatures like human and other animals have their neutral cables laid along their backs and their hearts in their chests. This is exactly what would expect from a 180-degree head-to-body turn in the transition from one group to the other. I will show in the next video what the things that they thought that controls language, and they name them after some famous psychologists and neurologists like Broca and